Hello, friends. Happy Hanukkah.
Well, not quite yet.
Okay, we can wait. But I posted something on TikTok. Are you guys following us on TikTok?
The TikToks?
Yeah, I did. I posted something on there yesterday,
fancy.
and I said, us card makers plan very far in advance. Because the music I chose for that TikTok was, "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas." But it's only September. So I said, we plan way far in advance because we want to make sure we have time to create cards and projects and gift tags and all the things for all the people in our lives that we love. And one thing we have focused on this month is creating products for you so you can create projects for everyone. No matter if they like a whimsical, fun, cute Christmas, do they like something with a nativity scene, or maybe they celebrate Hanukkah. So we have our Hanukkah bundle.
Yes, we have our Love and Light mini bundle that hit the shop today. It's gorgeous.
It is unbelievable. I love it so much. So we have our friend Daniel West with us today.
Hi,
he
Daniel.
is introducing this little set, this little bundle to you all for us. Thank you, Daniel, for creating this video. And then he has a great project. So it is very educational. So definitely stay tuned. Check out this whole video with Daniel as our presenter.
We're gonna be here watching along with you and chatting with you in the chat. So make sure if you're with us live that you put your comments and questions in. Daniel's here as well. And if you're watching the replay, you can always add questions and comments to the comment section. Yep. We go back and check them, and Catherine answers them.
Yeah. So ready? Let's see what Daniel has in store for us. I'm so excited.
Hey there, this is Daniel West. Happy to be here on Catherine Pooler Designs channel. I'm going to be playing with some new goodies today. I'm introducing the Love and Light bundle. So fun. For Hanukkah, holidays are coming up, and you guys are going to need lots of different kinds of cards and greetings. And this one is just right up my alley. It's got a great menorah set with a dove and a olive branch, a dreidel, beautiful little flower, a couple good sentiments, love and light, and then happy Hanukkah. And it has coordinating dies, of course. And then there's some fun new scallops and dots, or dots and scallops. It's the dots and scallops die set. You know, the two are almost identical. They just, all of the sizes are kind of switched around in them. So they look the same. If you think that it looks familiar, you're right. Let's make some card bases first. I like to do this as I'm getting ready for a big set of projects or a group of projects, or if I'm going to just sit and play for a while. I want to make sure I've got plenty of card bases on hand. So I made about 5 or so here. But man, it's so easy to make cards when you've got a bunch of those card bases right on hand. I like to score mine in groups, and then I like to use my bone folder, pop that sucker right in the corner of my score buddy, line up those edges real well, and then finish the creasing by pressing that down, get a nice little pop at the end of the card base. So fun. And then I also like to work with card panels, so I cut a bunch of those out instead of just working with full sheets of cardstock. And here I'm going to die cut the menorah out of an A2 size panel, and I'm going to use that negative space that I just showed you there as a guide for stamping, because I'm going to make several of these menorahs. I'm going to make 5 of them. I'm not going to use them all right now, but I'm going to have them available for when I want to make a quick Hanukkah card. And so I'm going to make a bunch of them. So I made one panel with just the menorah because I'm going to use that as my guide for stamping, and then I'm going to create guides out of the other negative spaces for the dove, the dreidel, and the flower. So if you're going to make a bunch of die cuts of the same thing, same image, this is the way I like to do it. I like to take the negative space, keep it on hand, and then pop my image right into the Misty there. And then I'm going to ink that up, stamp it on my mouse pad, which is wonderful for using over and over again. You just clean it when you're finished. And then we're going to stamp 5 of these guys. But you know what happens sometimes when I'm working with my stamps, as I peel that one piece of acetate off the back, and then I misplace it. Or it falls on the floor and gets dirty or dented, or something happens to it. So I like to stick a piece of Scotch tape on the back of that, make a hinge, pop the front of that on there, and then the back, and now I've got a folder. Problem solved. It really is a simple trick, but I thought you might enjoy that. So I condition my stamps before using Midnight ink because I'm anal about that. I like my stamps clean. It doesn't affect the performance of the stamp at all, but I like to hit it with some embossing ink, clear ink, and then wipe that off, and then hit it with my Midnight. And then when I go back to clean up my stamp, it comes off easier. It's just this microscopic little layer of protection. It doesn't work perfectly, but I like it. It works for me. I'm going to stamp that down there. Now you see the menorah on my mouse pad, and I'm going to take the negative space out of my die cut, line that up perfectly around my stamped image, and then use some perfect, this is what it's called, perfect craft tape. I think that's the name of it. It's from Spellbinders, but I'm sure Catherine sells it in her store. And hold that down with that. Put a magnet on top for good measure, and watch this. I stamp it down. Got to make sure I get it inked up and well pressured in all areas. And then I've got a perfectly stamped image. Look at this. Just pull it right up, and it's perfect. I mean, it's even on all sides. It's pleasing to my eye. It doesn't bother my sense of justice because it wasn't stamped correctly. And now look, I can just take my little hero scrubber with some ultra clean stamp cleaner, and it gets most of that Midnight ink off of there. I like it. See that? And then just wipe it dry. And I've got 5 menorahs already stamped out. You didn't see it, but I did it. And I just pop that guy right back in there and pull out the dreidel, the dove, and the flower. But not in that order, obviously. Then I'm trimming off my negative space on each of those die cuts to make little shims for, or guides for stamping these guys. I'm just going to do the same thing here that I did with the menorah. See how that works? It works with big stamps, works with little stamps. One of the things about that mouse pad is, though, after you've cleaned it a bit with Ultra Clean, you're going to have to make sure it's nice and dry before you try to tape something down, because the tape will not adhere to it. So make sure you've done that. Now with these, instead of trying to dig each of the die cuts out every time, I tried a different way. I left the die cut image that I stamped the first time in there, and then just laid the other die cut images on top of those, and it works fine. But it does present another problem, and that is the stamps will pull those right up out of the Misty. So if that's a problem for you, pick your poison. Which one are you gonna do? Dig them out every single time, or peel them off the stamp? I got a little organizer tray here. Just pop those guys in there, ready to do some coloring. I'm going to do different kinds of coloring today. I'm going to use those wonderful little blender pens that Catherine is wont to use with her inks. Her inks are lovely to use in this way because that sponge pad is just so ready and willing to let go of the ink. So you just pop that right, I do it right into the foam pad, and just grab a bit of that ink and lay it down. I'm doing this menorah in a way to make it look a little shiny. What that means is I'm leaving bits of white space here and there. Now you may call this not very careful coloring, but that's on purpose. It's a feature, not a flaw. I'm trying to keep some white space throughout my coloring. That way I can avoid having to use a white gel pen when I want to add what looks like shine to my image. Okay, so the menorah is going to get this sauna treatment. It's going to be a little splotchy, and that's on purpose. So if that bothers you, look away. Really, I want you to try it. I want you to give this a try. Splotchily coloring on your images and resist the urge to fill the whole darn thing in, because I think you'll like the result. Once we're finished, you'll see that it looks like light is hitting in different ways. And that's a very important thing for something that's made of metal, right? Now, if this was a silver menorah, I might have used a gray ink. But I chose colors today based on the colors in the palette of the 8 Nights 6x6 pattern paper that comes in this bundle. I didn't show you that pack, but I'll show you here in a minute. That pack includes rose petals, whipped honey, shea butter, sauna, sage, tranquil, on the lake, which is a brand new ink pad that came out recently, and juniper mist. So I'm going to do blues and golden yellows or yellow oranges, and just a little bit of pink, I guess, in that palette, and greens. I didn't use any pink in my coloring, but you can, you know. And here I'm going to do the candles. I'm doing them all in blue. So I started with On the Lake, and now I'm just adding a bit of detail. I'll add some detail of with juniper mist here in a little bit. But I'm starting them out with just a little On the Lake, a lovely light blue. And I'm going to color in the flowers, of course, in the bouquet around the base of the menorah. I'm just going to use the same simple color palette, yellows and blues. I think it's a fun palette for Hanukkah. And I'm going to stick with that. And that's all I'm going to use, except for just a little bit of green here and there, because there are leaves in there. Even the green is going to use a bit of the yellow sauna. I'm keeping the same tip in there. So they're going to be yellow-green leaves. All right. Now you see I'm adding darker concentrations at the base of things. When you are trying to color with a blender pen, keep in mind that if you use the same color ink, you're not going to get a lot of definition, even if you try to concentrate it here and there. So I recommend using a darker ink, like juniper mist with On the Lake, and instead of another yellow ink or orange ink for sauna, you could use brown. But I decided to just use a Copic marker and add a few more details, because once these dry back, they kind of blend together and mix together. So here I'm grabbing an E97 just to add a little bit of detail to my menorah, a little bit here and there, right? I'm going to darken it up behind the bouquet there, and then right at the base of my menorah, I'm going to add some flicks of this E97. Sorry that my camera blurs in and out a little bit sometimes, focusing on the wrong things. But don't we all focus on the wrong things sometimes? That was a free life lesson. All right, now I'm going to do only Copics on this one, and I'm going to show all of the coloring on it because I wouldn't want you to fall asleep. My voice sometimes makes people fall asleep, so if you need to watch this video 20 times, I understand. But I'm going to use Y26 as one of my favorite gold colors from Copic markers. and that's the base color. Like I used Sauna for the other menorah. And then I'm going to add some Y13 here to kind of brighten things up a bit. Y26 is rather muted, but Y13 is very bright. So I'm going to use both of those in combination here. Once for the menorah, once for the flowers. And then the E97, I'm going to, it's a brownish color. I'm going to use that as kind of an orange in adding some highlights or some details to my flowers. All right, now I'm coming back in with just a little bit more detail on this, just touching up my menorah, but you can see the white edges on the flowers, the white edges on the menorah. Just resist the urge. Try it, my friend. Try not to fill in. I challenge you, don't fill in every little piece, especially on Catherine stuff. Catherine Pooler's images are whimsical and fun, and if you fill them in, that's fine, but try to not fill it in and see how you like that. All right, let's move on to our other little images. We're gonna grab some flowers, some doves, and the dreidels, and we'll color those in now. So for the dove, I'm just going to do two colors, BV00 and BV02. I'm going to color just kind of a line of the lightest one underneath, and then just dot in and do a little bit of the mid-tone there. And I'm going to use a Sketch Marker Pro, which is another alcohol marker from Ellen Hudson, and just add in some green leaves there. And I'm going to do the same on the leaves on the flowers, but I'm going to use BG78 here on the darkest part, and then G52, which is the Sketch Marker Pro. All alcohol markers can be used together, so don't worry about that. Brands can be mixed together, but I just happen to have that one on hand. And then for the darkest part of the flower, I used a B79 and then a BV13 for the lighter part of the flower. Here's the paper pack I was talking about called 8 Nights. It's a 6x6 pattern paper, Hanukkah themed, but it has stripes and flowers and doves that aren't necessarily, a plaid and polka dots that aren't necessarily Hanukkah. So feel free to use them for whatever you like, you know. There are some menorahs in here, and there's that beautiful striped pattern. I love this juniper mist blue here in the back with all those doves. Super nice. Then that one has the tranquil and the sage and the rose petals on it. So here I'm going to get 2 cards out of one 6x6 piece of pattern paper. The larger piece is cut down to A2 size. I'm just going to cover the front of an A2 card base with the first piece. And then I'm going to use the other slice for my second card, for just kind of like a third of the way from the top kind of background. I like those. They're much simpler to play with. And I just add some tape on the back of that, some double-sided sticky adhesive. I like to use that instead of glue on pattern paper because pattern paper can be sometimes not as thick as some cardstock, so it kind of keeps it from showing through on the other side. Here I'm going to use one of the scalloped dies from the Scallops and Dots, or Dots and Scallops, and just cut that out of the middle, put it in the center, pop it up with some foam tape, and then take my menorah, pop it up on the front as well. Once you get these all colored in and die cut, man, you can just make cards till your heart's content, till the cows come home, till the dreidel stops spinning. How about that? Here I've got a dove here at the top, and I've got a dreidel here at the bottom, and just popping all of these up. And then I'm going to stamp and fussy cut a sentiment that says love and light, which is a lovely sentiment. I wish you love and light. my dear friends. Fussy cut that out. Add a piece of foam tape at the bottom, and then that doubles the foam tape up on one piece of the back there so that it's all even. Now it says Love and Light. I love that. And then I was fortunate enough to receive a extra little jar of the Oslo sequins, and they are beautiful, and they pair perfectly with the color palette here, especially for Hanukkah. Not that Hanukkah has to be blue and white, but I'm just saying it's very, very Hanukkah-ish color palette. And so I add those sequins in a W pattern, kind of a zigzag always. The biggest one in the center, a medium on each side of that, and then the smallest ones on the ends. It's my signature sequin move. Here I'm going to start my second card. Taking that leftover piece of pattern paper and just adhering it to the front of my card base, and then cutting strips of cardstock and dipping them into the ink pads to make colored paper. Now, I wised up the second time around after my first one and got juniper mist fingers, dipping my fingers into the ink pad. I just used an acrylic block for the other two and avoided that mess. So here I'm just going to adhere those strips to the bottom and top of my pattern paper, and I like the way it looks. Kind of looks like a floor or a tabletop where you can spin your dreidels all day. So I took all those dreidels I colored in and let them hang off the side a little bit after popping them up. Helps the design look as though it continues on off the front of the page. And then trim those off with some scissors. And stamped Happy Hanukkah on the front. All it needs now is my little zigzag of sequins, and we're finished with this card too. Super fun and super easy. And now let's do our third card, our final project for the day. I'm going to use the stitched rectangle here and cut out a piece of that pattern paper in plaid. Then take a scalloped sentiment, love and light, and then pop my menorah onto the left and the little dove under the love. Add my sequins, and voila, we are finished. I hope you enjoyed our little furrow into the Love and Light bundle, and I hope you'll be able to pick this one up. Send out to all of your Hanukkah celebrating friends. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for spending some time with me as well. Take care.
Try again.
We forgot to unmute.
That's what happened earlier. We didn't want to be like dialoguing in the background while Dan was talking. Sorry.
Because sometimes we make comments.
All kinds of comments about the weather.
No. I'm like, my signature move is the tucking method.
Catherine likes a little tuckety tuck with her sequins.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, thank you so much for Daniel for the wonderful video. I loved the cards. It was so fun to see what you created with this gorgeous menorah set. And if you have friends and family that celebrate Hanukkah, this is a perfect set for them. And if you don't, there's still some fun images in here that you can use. And that patterned paper pack has a beautiful color combo, lots of prints that are not Hanukkah specific, and, you know, give it a try.
Have some fun. Maybe just make some Hanukkah cards and then see if you can find people who you can send them to.
Yeah. You guys can hear us now.
I did really love that one of the gals that works in the shipping department was saying that she has one friend that she makes a Hanukkah card for every year, but that she never has Hanukkah stamps. And so she has to improvise, and she was really excited to be able to make her a really special card this year. Yeah. So she's like, she's going to love it. She's going to like her card this year. So that's fun.
Good. And when you guys get your hands on the stamps, then we see all kinds of other ways to use the set. So I bet there's ways to use the candles and the like the base with the flowers and stuff, I bet there's other things you can do with it and alter the images to create different kinds of cards. So thank you again for being with us today for the Hanukkah Love and Light bundle. We're super excited about it. And again, thanks to Daniel for the fabulous video.
And thanks for the little bean spill, Daniel.
Bean spills are always good.
We're always good with a bean spill.
You guys have an amazing day, and that is what we went on and forgot to unmute, and the dots that the die
Dots of
set that
scales.
he used is
Mhm.
coming later. It's coming.
Yep.
It's coming.